I'm so excited to talk about this, Shankar.
What is it?
I'm excited. I can't even wait till we have stopped moving. But basically, first of all, we are at Target.
Yes.
We're at the Vineyard. We're at Super Target, and there appears to be this structure that looks like a gas station, but it's not a gas station. What is it?
It's a drive-up.
What's a drive-up?
I think it's where you can pick up your groceries that you ordered previously on the app.
Okay, so it looks like some things from the great global sickness of 2019, 2020 has not gone away. In fact, they have added another operation, haven't they? Which is what?
I don't know which operation they added, but I think you have personal shoppers who do the grocery shopping for you, and then you just drive up and load it up.
Yeah, I guess I should say extended their services or expanded their services. Maybe that's the better terminology I'm looking for. I want to express that this all began because of a public threat, and we all behave differently. Shoppers still needed to shop. Customers were not allowed to go in, and some even after didn't want to, or they had reasons why they couldn't. So now there's this entire model of business that caters to that new persona, that new target audience that's out there for shoppers that still want to have convenience and I think that it's very smart. I don't think this is the end of that. I think it's kind of the beginning. What do you think?
I agree. Humans always look for the path of least resistance, and that means anything that is convenient like that. And of course, that also goes into all the virtual world stuff, the meta world. It will not go away. On the contrary, it will only grow.
So speaking of the meta world, we were having a conversation when we were eating dinner that I just think is so fascinating. I wanted to continue the conversation, but basically we were talking about Tomorrowland, which is a European festival. I don't think it's originated in Europe, but it's not only in Europe where they have those festivals, right?
Correct.
So what is Tomorrowland?
It's an electronic dance music movement, I would call it. It is everything from parties to podcasts to radio stations. It's a whole cultural movement.
And they have a radio station called One World Radio that you can check out if you want to hear some of the music that we're talking about and get addicted like we did. But if you really want to understand what's behind the movement, then you should check out the After movie, I believe they call it.
Yep.
It's like a 20-minute beautiful, beautiful documentary that highlights the 3-day event. And it is just beyond belief. You will never look at EDM the same. There's testimonials in there, only like one or two, but you get to see the beginning to the end and the themes that they use, which are about like love and unity and all of this. It's not at all what I expected it to be.
What did you expect it to be?
Well, I think I expected, like rave and drugs and sex and alcohol and craziness just everywhere. But you can look and see that by and large it looks pretty tame. There's a group of people, and I'm not saying those things don't happen. They can happen anywhere. But the festival really does have a goal, and it's very clear what it is. It is really to unite people, hence One World Radio and all of the themes that run through it. I just didn't expect that. I thought it was kind of just a bunch of mosh pit, people bumping butts and pumping their fists and stuff.
Yeah, I guess I was more educated about that movement.
Okay, well, you do hail from Europe, so what do I know? But anyway, that's not why we're here.
No.
Alan Pickett coined that phrase. I mean, I'm sure he didn't, but ever since he said that, I just can't stop saying it because So I'm interested in knowing in the 2 minutes that we have left before we go on pause and go to the gym, because I know that's probably what you're thinking about is why are we here in the parking lot talking when we got to go into the gym. But I just can't stop thinking about what you said while we were eating when we were talking about Tomorrowland and the movement and why it's special, and you mentioned how much these DJs get paid.
Yeah, they get paid up to $50,000 per gig if they are within the top 100 of the world.
And how long is a gig or a set?
1 to 2 hours.
So that's crazy. And I said, well, okay, that just goes to show that all of these kids in the 90s that were in their rooms, like, bum, 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 trying to figure it out, playing around, are literal millionaires and billionaires now. The ones that were really dedicated and tried to hone their craft or just loved it, even though their mom said, come down for dinner, Steve. Get off of that synth keyboard, or why are you recording over my whatever? Do your homework. Go to college.
Yep.
So I asked you a question. What was it?
What was what?
What was the question I asked that sparked this whole podcast?
Oh, what's the equivalent of the teenagers nowadays that used to be messing around with their synthesizers?
And the answer is?
Well, it's the youngsters who build worlds in Roblox and Minecraft.
So explain to our audience Roblox and Minecraft and why that is important for the future, since we're talking about the stars of the future.
It's Roblox, not Roadblocks.
Ah, yeah, it just lets you know. I'm sure they're all laughing at me right now, too.
Well, it is the foundational 3D engines of virtual worlds that now, for the most part, are utilized to build worlds for games, for the most part. But make no mistake, in the future, the virtual worlds will be utilized to conduct everyday everythings. Just like in the movie Ready Player One, you go and do everything, and humans, because they are inherently lazy and always look for the path of least resistance, will do everything from the comfort of their room. I don't think they will leave their room anymore. They will just like in that movie, have a small house, because there will be an overpopulation of the world, because humans think that we are so important that we need to procreate on and on and on. So we will live like chickens in a hen, what is it called?
A hen house.
A hen house.
So for those that don't know what reference Shankar is mentioning right now, Ready Player One is a sci-fi film from 2018, directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's a virtual reality where, like he just described, I mean, some of you have seen it already, but there's, like, everything is controlled by this metaverse, by this world. Mm-hmm. And so that seems kind of far-fetched, because maybe it's like 100 years out, 50 years out, 40 years out, but these...
Absolutely not. I mean, look at it right now. There's like a handful of companies that rule the world. Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. That's about it. These companies rule the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so in the future, when we all live and work and entertain and sleep and cry and have sex and love in meta worlds, whoever owns the meta world is king. And there's going to be a need for people to build these worlds. And that's precisely the kids nowadays who grew up building Minecraft worlds and Roblox worlds. And it's only the beginning.
Well,
And you and I and the people older than we are will be absolutely lost if we don't jump on this trend and try to understand how these worlds are built, because we're going to be 100% dependent on these kids, just like our grandparents were 100% dependent on us to turn the computer on for them.
Yes. What I'm interested in knowing is how we can discern what's important to allow young minds to do. How do we prepare for a job in 2045 when we, you know what I mean? Like, how do we prepare them for jobs that are yet to be known?
That's very easy. Let them do what they want to do. Like, just like when we were young, we wanted to play game consoles and play with DJ equipment and whatnot. And you can never take away what is inherently a passion of a generation. That's also, by the way, what you should invest in. You want to invest in the future trends, not the current trends, because you're already behind.
Yeah.
You don't have enough money to really land the big investment. Mm-hmm. But if you invest in meta world technologies now, something you don't believe in because you can't see it, you don't have the vision for that, then once you are ready for retirement, you might be ready to cash out. Just like when you were at the beginning of Apple and Microsoft, you could have made a lot of money when you had invested then, when nobody believed in it, except for a few kids in their garages tinkering around with computers.
I think we all just need to read more sci-fi. I mean, before Steven Spielberg directed this, it was a book, and books tell the future. They really do. People build upon.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that was ever written manifested.
Isn't just that like crazy?
What is the movie? Wild. What is that? Those old movies, 10,000 Miles Under the Sea or something like that. Even those were written at times when there was not even a way to dive, to have like submarines or anything. There were movies about flying to the moon at times where you couldn't fly to the moon. And absolutely, anything the human mind can conceive of will come to pass.
Well, I love it. I love it so much, and I love that we are creative folks ourselves. And this, by the way, people, is not limited to 12-year-olds and teens and, even college students, but those in your 30s and 40s and 50s. It is never too late to start looking at where the future is going to be and adopting certain models or learning what it is. I think it's really important to not get shut out of the world that you're still going to be living in.
Absolutely. I suggest one day of the world you do something that is completely out of your comfort zone.
One day of the world?
One day of
day of the world.
Yeah, one day of the world. One day of the week.
One world where your head is like in the future.
One day of the week, you take half a day to do something, to hone a skill that you think right now is completely useless, but you see the youngsters do it.
What's yours going to be? I already know.
Well,
I'm excited about it.
So, I think it has to be either DJing which that is, by the way, not a new skill. That's just something I discovered. But
the way that people are DJing now is absolutely new, for sure.
But I think the building the worlds. I mean, the Minecraft and Robloxes of the world.
This is why I think we need to get a system.
Which system?
Any system, like, can be Xbox.
Andrea wants to go shopping.
It's not about shopping. It's about
popping.
It's
popping.
It sounded very Indian.
Oh.
It's about staying ahead. And where do you think all of these transactions and things are going to happen? We know.
Well, Andrea, you know what I'm going to get for Christmas now.
What are you going to get me?
I'm going to.
If you'll notice, he said, "You know what? I'm going
to get your butt to Amsterdam."
So we're back from the gym. And we're continuing the conversation on future stars. Is that what we decided to call this?
Yes.
And what are your final thoughts about this topic?
My final thoughts? If you don't invest in obtaining those skills, you need to invest in whatever companies are focusing on those skills. If you have a company, you should hire people who have those skills.
Absolutely, I agree. Hiring on with the future in mind is very important. I thought about a lot about Black Mirror, where the world actually operates on a different kind of currency. And we were talking about it a little bit yesterday too. Currency, we all know data is currency. Well, if you don't know now, you know. And so are followers. Like, your followership can be monetized on virtually any platform if there's a big enough audience and demand for whatever it is that you do. So with that being said, I mean, you could even run ads for other people, for other corporations, and organizations are very interested in using what's called user-generated content. So they send you something, often it's a product that they're trying to sell, maybe even a service. If you talk about, I use this cleaning agency and they worked really well, blah, blah, blah. But it's getting much bigger than that, because endorsements for different products and services and everything else is going to, I really do believe that traditional marketing is going away very quickly. And if you don't have a base of followers associated with your brand, with who you are, companies don't really have a reason to invest in you. So that's why your followership is a type of currency, but it will be on steroids in just the next couple of years. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that's to a large extent already the case. We have the creator economy in full force, and that will only get amplified. And as you say, data is currency. And also, I would say the ability to create communities and retain communities, entertain communities, engage communities. That is another strong skill that is going to be needed in the future.
Community engagement is an underrated skill. It's, I don't know, I wouldn't even call it a soft skill at this. Would you call it a soft skill or a hard skill?
I think it's a combination of both, but definitely, I'm not sure what is the definition of a soft skill.
I was just thinking, as I said that, but what I mean to say is there's a number of links when you're thinking of community organization and community management. It's not just like, hey guys, give a like or a follow, like on social media. And it's not just, hey, take this picture when you're all together in a room. It's, I mean, there's strategy behind building communities. There's hardcore strategy and research involved. And so those are what I would say maybe are the hard skills. And then the soft skills are using your interpersonal communication skills to be able to pull that all together and make it happen. Maybe have a way to reach out to the other, target audience and hook them in. And so those are things that not everybody can do, but the ones who do it very well will be highly sought after. And you're right, we do already have this influencer world in existence, but it has never been more accessible, I would say, than this point. And I mean, we're seeing it all over the place, which is the reason why we care so much about reaching out B2B over LinkedIn. And we just know what's happening. We know the direction that it's going.
Yeah, I think you're right with influencer in the B2B space. That's definitely, I think, something new.
And I'm sorry because I hopped around between B2C and back to B2B. But anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't be an influencer without having a followership. Mm-hmm. So we hear that when you ask college students nowadays or kids what they want to be, they want to be YouTubers, which at its core is really an influencer. You want to be paid for influencing and entertaining.
Yes. I have to agree, and I don't know. Are entertainers influencers? They can be, right? But I feel like when I think of an influencer, I think of mindset and shaping behavior.
Well, most entertainers, when they get to a very mature stage or their exit phase, then they shift into influencing, because that's how they want to leave their legacy. They want to usually use their platform and their fame to influence.
Isn't that, it's just the circle of life. It's true though. I mean, comedians, athletes, they all suddenly become like book writers and speech givers, and they're sought after in conferences because there's a way that they live their life that is all built on habits that everybody wants to get access to. Like, what are those keys of success? What is the key to life? And I don't think it's all bull BS. I think they really do, like you said, want to leave a legacy and care about their mark on the earth. So before you hit that point, whatever age that is, and I think that's what's shifting too now, is that we're wanting, people are wanting to, quote, influence the world at 13 years old on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's when I would say it's more entertaining than it is, let me share my life struggles and how I've overcome the 6th grade or whatever, you know. I think that I will always say we're living in the Truman Show. The Truman Show era. We're just like 2 years away from that, where we're just interested in seeing, we're entertained. We use our lives to watch other people live their lives. And so anyway, in conclusion, I think on the road to that, as we get there, is really important to set ourselves up to be able to monetize whatever that is that happens in the future, including our, and I say children of the world, not our children. We don't have children, but our children's children, and constantly thinking forward and maybe not pushing back all the time. Instead, thinking of how you can help them further their skills that they'll be able to use for money. And those are the stars of the world, because the stars of the future, and they're going to take care of us. They're going to be doing our medicine. They're going to be fixing our cars. They're going to be driving our whatevers. So we might as well make sure they have every shot to do it.
100%. All
right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We really hope you appreciated this episode. Stars of the future?
The stars of the future.
Yeah, they are among us. So maybe next time we can talk about what that means for business owners. And we talk about parents, but we really need to be talking about leaders of companies and how you should be thinking about them. Maybe it's time to get away from that old structure where the oldest and the more senior is the one who has all the ideas that you listen to. Maybe we should, although you've kind of always been this way, think about the young ones, and they're so talented, so we got to give them a place too. Okay,